So the question is, what is the relationship between bureaucracy and Newton's first law? So what is Newton's first law? As far as I remember, it was like everything tends to remain in the state of rest or motion unless an external force is applied to change its condition. This was Newton's first law, and this can be applied to bureaucracy as well. It's very interesting to note that the principles and theories related to material science, how nicely it converges with the subjects dealing with human behavior or the subjects related to humanities, they converge. So how to apply this Newton's first law to bureaucracy? So in general, you know that the bureaucracy is criticized for being, it has been criticized over the years, although the things have improved in the Western world, but in developing countries, bureaucracy is still continuing with certain limitations. What are those things? That bureaucracy is criticized for being a status quoist in approach. A status quoist tendency means that you continue with the things as they are, you resist change. Resistance to change is a common thing we can see everywhere. Generally we harbor resistance to change because of insecurity and fear and lot many things, but with bureaucracy it has become almost a culture. So when we talk about bureaucratic reforms, we also talk about doing away with these tendencies. Apart from this, bureaucracy's excessive rule orientation or corruption in the bureaucracy, then incremental tendency in bureaucracy to continue with the things as they are with just marginal improvement, incrementalism, something. So bureaucracy over the years, more particularly in developing world, has been criticized for being inefficient, excessively oriented towards rules, regulations and formalism, being a status quoist in approach, having incremental tendencies. So what comes out of that? That the bureaucracy in general continue with the existing state of affairs, whatever be its consequence for the society in general. They continue with the things as they are. And if you really want to bring changes, you need to exert pressure on bureaucracy. So bureaucracy in a way submits to Newton's first law. So the tendency is to continue with all such evils unless an external force is applied either by a judiciary or civil society or media, various pressure groups, go for change, bring such changes. When the pressure is exerted, then only bureaucracy go for some kind of improvement and change. That's why we say that the bureaucracy is amenable to Newton's first law. So if external force is not applied from the side of civil society, media, I, you and others, public at large, if we do not exert pressure to bring reforms and change or to be more responsive to the problems of society, their tendency is to continue with the things as they are. That's why we say that the bureaucracy is amenable to Newton's first law. But things become different when you have a very proactive government at the top, when the political leadership is very active, very vigilant, and they know how to control and how to harness the potential of bureaucracy in furtherance of the cause of society, then things become different. When political leadership works in cooperation with bureaucracy, it controls bureaucracy properly and exercises proper vigilance, then you can bring out the best from the bureaucracy, and bureaucracy can be forced not only to respond to the existing problems and challenges, but the bureaucracy can also be encouraged to anticipate things in future and to prepare for the same. So under a proactive government, you can say bureaucracy is not so much amenable to Newton's first law. Even before society, civil society or media, they come up with any issue, bureaucracy decide the things and bureaucracy settle the things at the first instance. As for example, in the presently you can say with the more particularly with the union government, you can say Modi government, that the government is very active. Then people in the past we have not seen the people exerting pressure on bureaucracy for better health conditions or the new education policy, or for that matter for drinking water or for better integrated infrastructure and lot many things. Government has taken such decisions, government has taken several initiatives on its own, and bureaucracy has acted so nicely, has worked so nicely with this political leadership, and we have seen many new developments and changes taking place all around. Presently, right now, at this time when we are discussing this topic, today all over the what is happening in Delhi, the G20 summit is going on, and leaders from the different parts of the world, they have assembled. So it exhibits that what has India achieved in the last few years. India has got the place, or is going to get the place which it deserves. It deserves in the Committee of Nations, true to its potential. Gradually, the gap between the potential of this country and the actual condition of this country, the gap between potential and actual growth is getting breached. This is the beauty, and this has been possible. Why? How? Because of very good work, the political leadership and bureaucracy. They have worked in proper rhythm, proper discipline, and that's why most of the project, this is something which can be established factually. I'm not talking about one or the government, but factually it can be established that most of the projects have been finished before the date. So today we are not living, in a country where, as far as central government is concerned, we can say quite safely that this bureaucracy under this political leadership, this bureaucracy is not so much amenable to Newton's first law. There are many initiatives which have been taken even without any hint given by us or by civil society or media, or any pressure exerted by civil society, media, or the external realm of the government. So bureaucracy in general, if it is not very progressive, is found to be amenable to Newton's first law. If bureaucracy is very active and working under a proactive government, then bureaucracy is not amenable to Newton's first law. It takes the initiative, and the opposition parties, they follow the bureaucracy and the government in totality. So bureaucracy is amenable to Newton's first law in general, but bureaucracy under proactive government is not amenable to Newton's first law.